What's the word, y'all? Welcome back to the recap. Man, it feels good to say those words. Whew, it's been a minute. But I'm here to talk about All-Star Day. Not weekend, unless you want to count the 2-on-2 between Quavo and 2 Chainz. It was just an All-Star Day. And I don't know if I really enjoyed it or it was kind of bad and forgettable. It's one of the two. Leave a like, subscribe if you're new. Let's have that conversation. I can say I did like the structure of this day, starting off with the skills competition, going all the way down to the last buzzer of the All-Star game. I really like the idea of it being one day full of everything. But me and you know that that's not going to be the case next year. You know, hopefully things are a little bit more safe because the NBA loves that revenue. 3 days of ad revenue, 3 days of ticket sales, you know they breaking it back up. But I do like that everything was right after each other. Until we got to the second half today, I thought this was a whole W. Skills competition is what it is. It's like an appetizer, little warm. Nobody actually cares about the skills competition. The people in the skills competition don't care about the skills competition. So with that being said, it was still enjoyable, I think. I was rooting for Robert Covington, because it was just different to see a guy like him in that, because he has not showcased like skill, like dribbling ability, passing ability throughout his entire career. But I understand why he was there for the HBCUs. Shout out to them. But I was rooting for him for that moment alone, for that reason alone. But obviously that didn't go well. My boy CP missed the whole layup, but he made up for it because he dunked the ball for, I think, the second All-Star game in a row. So then we get to the three-point competition, and man, did this feel amazing. Steph Curry being back in the event made everything just work out well. We knew there was this guy, this Goliath of a shooter in this competition. And of course, I love watching Steph Curry shoot the ball as the purest looking jump shot, because after he missed those first two in his first time around, he was absolutely automatic. He just had to recalibrate, and he just found it. It's so incredible to see people that are at the best at what they do, whether this is sports, whether this is music, whatever it may be. When you are the absolute best at something, bar none, there is no better shooter than Stephen Curry on this planet right now. So to see him find that moment and lock in is incredible, and I think everybody was in awe of it. One thing I didn't like is, of course, that Damian Lillard had to pull out for the rest reasons, because I think that those two players are the ones that we get in that final. Shout out to Mike Conley, because he definitely showed a lot of people wrong, but I wanted to see Dame versus Steph. And then once we got to the actual game and these dudes was literally pulling up from half court, made me want to see them go back and forth from three in the actual three-point shootout even more. So Steph Curry kills it in the three-point shootout, coming down to the last possible shot. And then we get to the first half of the All-Star game, and it was beautiful. I think that the NBA, and I think we're going to be comparing last year's All-Star game in Chicago with the new Elam ending, and it ended with Anthony Davis hitting that shot, basically being a close, everybody's buckling in. We're going to compare that game to every single game in the near future, because that was the most competitive game that we've seen in a very long time. And I think that the players are try to find this balance of being competitive and also trying to show out for the fans, right? Because you need a balance of both. And I think last year was a perfect example of that. But the first half, man, it was crazy to see Steph Curry do everything he does. It was crazy to see Giannis dominate. These are the type of games, though, that the big man, the dominant force, that's why Shaq has 3 finals MVPs. That's why Anthony Davis has a few. Because at the end of the day, nobody's really guarding like a guy like Giannis when he's in the paint. So he can just run to the basket and dunk the ball. But he showed a lot of different stuff, like a step back 3 in the corner. Girlfriend was like, that's not him, right? And I was like, nah. He's not doing that type of stuff in the regular season game. That's not him. And then he had a bank 3-pointer. He was bringing out all the tricks. And I think I saw a stat on Twitter that he is the only player in NBA history to go to an All-Star game and shoot perfect from the field with over 10 shot attempts. So that is an incredible stat line in itself. I didn't even realize that Dame had 32. Overall, the first half of the game was well played from both sides. You know, of course, Team LeBron was stacked by the end of, you know what I'm saying? When you got Joel Embiid, you have Devin Booker, and of course, the captain himself, Kevin Durant, not being there, of course, we knew that Team LeBron was going to win. We were just trying to see how dominant of a performance what is going to be. And through the first half, of course, Team LeBron was winning, but it wasn't like a dominant until like we got to the second half, and that's when it kind of got boring. Team Durant kind of stayed in this for the first half, but yeah, it's very weird to have Team Durant missing that many. I was saying this in our podcast. Imagine they go through this draft, right? Team LeBron versus Team Kevin Durant. You draft Devin Booker, And then your Devin Booker draftee gets replaced by Mike Conley. Now, that's not a knock at Mike Conley, but if you were trying to get Devin Booker and you got Mike Conley as a substitute, that is a downgrade. And then we have this whole thing that was the biggest concern when it comes to putting together this all-star game was like the COVID thing. And we saw that today with Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons, who of course bona fide all-stars should have been in the game today. Due to contact tracing, they could not perform. And like Joel Embiid is an MVP candidate this year, and he couldn't actually be in the all-star game. And I know he's in Atlanta. He's mad. Like he even tweeted Mickey Mouse all-star game, which is enabling all of those guys that use that Mickey Mouse meme stuff to continue to do what they do. Joel, we gotta be better. Do not open that gate because it will not close. But then we get to the dunk contest, and the dunk contest was extremely underwhelming. And you know what? I did not look at the 3 players that were into it and immediately thought that it was going to be a dud. When you compare it to some of the previous years, we know like bona fide dunkers were in it, bona fide like really, really good players were in it. And I didn't look at these 3 guys and immediately say, this is gonna suck. I gave this a legitimate chance, and it just didn't live up to any expectation for me. Not that the dunks were bad or anything, like they were good dunks and they were impressive dunks. There's no flair to it, and maybe that's because there was not a lot of crowd, or maybe the dunks just didn't have enough flair to the crowd to get into it, because there were still 2,500 people there, I think they said. Something like that. And then the players that were even on the sideline didn't react to these dunks. Steph Curry and them were reacting crazy to the actual game the whole time. We got to the dunk contest, and they were like, nice dunk. A little clap. Nobody was really reacting. Anthony Simons put on some cool dunks. The dunk that Cassius Stanley started with was dope, but it was also something we've seen before, so it didn't get a high grade. And Obi Toppin brought up something Zach LaVine did a week ago, and then it was just some of the dunks were pretty basic, but impressive. Don't get me wrong, impressive, but basic. Nothing was like something we've never seen before. If Anthony Simon would have actually gave the lips to the rim, that would have been different. Him jumping up 12 feet was kind of different, but it didn't have that little flair to it to make as a person, as a basketball fan, jumping up 12 feet to get a ball and dunking it is impressive, but I feel like to the casual fan, that was just a dunk. Maybe I'm wrong here. Overall, not really impressive. And then that same energy kind of carried on to the second half where it just was happening. It was just happening. I think the only downside of having everything in one day slate is that it felt like it was going on forever. Like at the end of the third quarter, they had the legend Anthony Hamilton come through and sing a song, which is dope for the frontline workers, which is dope. But it definitely felt like we were going on for 6 hours already. You know what I'm saying? So maybe the pacing, or maybe starting a little bit earlier, if we're going to keep it one day, would have been better. I still don't know if I really loved it, or when we look back 3 years from now, are we going to remember this game? Maybe we remember Steph Curry being dominant in the 3-point shootout. Maybe remember that Giannis didn't miss a shot, but I think we're going to keep comparing it to 2020 in Chicago. I just think we do. I think we do. 2020 in Chicago. I do love the idea of them naming the MVP award after Kobe. That is a beautiful gesture. Because of course Kobe also destroyed All-Star games. 2011 is the one that comes to mind because they just retroed the Pro Tro 6, where he won All-Star game MVP in LA. At that, and I wore them in the 3-point or the shootout I was in a couple days ago that we will not talk about because I lost. Overall, I don't regret watching, obviously, because it's basketball. What I am going to be really upset about, or kind of lost with, is there's no basketball for the next 2-3 days. I think until Wednesday night. So it's going to be rough. Let me know what you think about All-Star, man. Was it a W? Was it an L? Let me know. Comment section. Peace out. Call game.